Hey tubers, it's Port Boys here. Just going over some of the recent headlines. This one, the Rockefeller's pursuit and our continuous denial of other species. My last video, if you watched it on the Proxima Centauri, we saw how American tech billionaires refused to look at the UFO phenomenon, instead fund the Eyewash SETI initiative. But there was an exception. The well-known billionaire philanthropist, conservationist and financier Lawrence Rockefeller, who died in 2004, was the fourth son of John D. Rockefeller, founder, of course, of the Standard Oil Company. In 1993, Lawrence Rockefeller established the UFO Disclosure Initiative, urging President Clinton to declassify all of the information that the CIA and the Air Force had accumulated about the UFOs since the 1940s, starting with the 1947 Roswell crash. Due to his efforts, Clinton issued an executive order in '94 to declassify millions of documents in the National Archives. Now, Rockefeller sponsored both financially and otherwise the effort to bring together three major UFO research organizations in America's CUFOs, that is the Center for UFO Studies, as well as FUFA, which is the Fund for UFO Research, and MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and produced the UFO briefing document under the authorship of well-known aviation historian Don Berliner. Now, the project was coordinated by Mary Galbraith, wife of Evan Galbraith, who was the American ambassador to France during the Reagan administration, and Antonio Janias, who contributed to the case history section. Now, UFO researchers Stanton Friedman and Timothy Good, Major General Wilfred de Brouwer, Deputy Chief of the Royal Belgian Air Force, Dr. Claude Pohar, founder of Gepan, Jean-Jacques Velasco, director of CEPRA, also contributed to this effort. So Rockefeller's efforts saw limited success in America, but in France, due to the efforts of Marie Galbraith, it resulted in the famous Cometa report of 1999. Now, Rockefeller also funded the research for the famous Harvard professor Dr. John Mack, and author of the best-selling abduction that dealt with the alien abduction phenomenon and the disclosure project of Dr. Stephen Greer. Last week a reader commented that I believe deserves an explanation. He wrote, if UFOs really did exist, it would be really hard to hide them because that would have required the cooperation of UFOs themselves. This is one way of saying I won't make the effort to study 70 years of accumulated evidence. Instead, I will put the blame on UFOs. Now, obviously, since recorded history, as well as the 1940s, UFOs have contacted thousands of individuals from all walks of life and conveyed a variety of information, including the star system from which they came. But most of their message deals with how we have been systematically abusing the planet, leading to the supposed ecological crisis. Unfortunately, every time people come forward with their encounters, they are ridiculed and mocked by American mainstream media, the scientific communities, as well as the intelligence agencies and the Air Force, as well as NASA. So another question was brought forward: why don't they land on the White House lawns? Now, as a matter of fact, an extraordinary wave of UFO intrusions took place in 1952 when dozens of UFOs repeatedly flew over the Capitol buildings in Washington, D.C. The American Air Force lied to the world by saying it was caused by temperature inversion, which is the immediate cause of a mirage, then ordered its pilots to shoot them down. So Frank Frascino wrote a book, Shoot Them Down, The Flying Saucer Air Wars of 1952, which detailed the incident. Now, most importantly, the American president neither represents nor speaks for the human race. He only represents the oil industry. arms industry, etc. Every time they appear, we send our fighter jets after them. They have two choices, either to disable them as they have done in that 1976 encounter over Tehran, or simply leave the scene, which is what they do most of the time. Now, Shakespeare wrote in Julius Caesar, "The fault, dear Brutus, does not lie in the stars, but in ourselves." Likewise, the fault does not lie in UFOs, but ourselves. Our naivety, our being stupid, the lazy, sheepish mentality, this attitude that we're right, we have to judge others, that we're right, they're wrong, we're right, they're wrong. That's what's allowed a small number of people to hide the greatest event in human history from the world. So just bear in mind that. Do your research. Go online, do your research. Check out the information on Rockefeller and his pursuit for UFOs. It's out there, and there's millions of people who are doing this. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.